And here we go. Digital Adele back with another Hoops Profile Beyond the Backboard podcast for you with my co-host, Matt Hanifan. How are you doing today, Matt?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing outstanding. You have the backwards hat on today, looking like you're 15 years old again. I like it, man. I like it.
Dude, there's not a day goes by that I don't look 15 just because the face.
It,
I got a
it
baby face.
it's a blessing, man. It's a blessing. I'm glad to hear that you have been blessed with a youthful appearance. That's great. I can relate. But anyway, hoops. Let's talk about hoops. We are nearing, careening, crashing in the Miami Heat's case into the NBA playoffs in 2025 and inching closer and closer and closer to the 2025 NBA draft. So we're going to switch gears a little bit today, and we're going to discuss the Rookie of the Year race in the NBA. And we're going to do it in the format of ESPN's own Steve Ashburner's final 2025 NBA Rookie Ladder.
NBA.com, not ESPN.
Oh, my apologies. That's right. NBA.com. Oops. So anyway, getting into it, we are going to go in reverse order, it looks like. And there is a surprise right off the bat in the top 10. Tied for 10th. One, Kyle T-Rex armed Filipkowski. How do you feel about that, Matt?
This isn't for people who play fantasy basketball, but like Filipowski has been one of the better fantasy basketball players over the last month. That's not here nor there. I think he just like as the season's gone on, given the state of the Utah Jazz, he's gotten more opportunity.
Right.
And I think like that's rightfully so. He's been all right. Like it's nothing. He's been like a double guy the last month. I don't know if the percentages are all that great, but just in general, I think he's been like solid for them.
Let's take a look over his last 5 games, shall we? So if we go to my favorite basketball site, which is Basketball Reference, they always have this stuff really quick and easy to find. His last 5 games, he shot 40% from 3, 0%, 0%, 0%, and then 25%. His 3-point shooting isn't great.
35.6 for the season.
Yeah, I have a feeling that he's starting to get higher and higher volume. So, like, I think that's an aberration. Like, these last 5 games, he's been averaging like 5 to 6 threes per game.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2 of those games, he went 0 for 6. Is that good?
No.
But the rebounding is really interesting to me. The fact that he's been racking up rebounds against Charlotte, against Houston. They're not really big teams. Indiana's not really a great rebounding team either. Atlanta, I could say the same. Even Portland. I don't know how real that is. Do you think he's a double-double guy next year as well?
I guess it depends on how many minutes he gets. Like if he's getting 30 plus minutes a night, depending on who's there with him, sure. Or around 30 minutes.
Wow.
Like I think there's a possibility. Sure.
I'm going to have to go back and watch some of his film from the regular season because I admittedly have not watched much of him in the NBA. I watched a lot of him in college when we scouted him. I'm very interested to see how he gets his buckets because he is shooting an effective field goal percentage of like 58%. So that is better than I expected. And I think that would be A well-deserved 10 spot for him. Number 10 for the Portland Trailblazers, tied with Cal Filipkowski, Donovan Klingett, the mountain man from UConn.
I think he's been one of the best anchor bigs in this class so far. Although I do think there is a problem with it. It's crept up more and more as the season's gone along, I think. But he fouls a lot.
Right.
And I think that's a problem. He's not playing. I'm not saying he's not playing all that much, but he's averaging 4 blocks per 100 possessions, 3 blocks per 75. That's absurd.
Yeah.
He's
a mountain of a man.
Yeah, he's averaging 1.6 for the season. He's still that rim runner type. He's flashed the 3-point shooting barely, which
super low
more
volume.
than he did it when he was at UConn last year or last couple of years. Not getting to the free throw line all that much. He's a very, very productive offensive rebounder, which is something that I like from him. Keeping, giving them extra possessions when they need it. But just as an anchor big man, I think he's been one of the best. But I want to see him continue to improve his offensive menu in future seasons.
I feel like the injuries really held him back in his rookie season. He never was able to really get back on track after he got injured. He's only playing 20 minutes a game. Less than that, 19.6. And he only started 35 of those games.
Yeah.
And with that being said, his numbers are still very similar to Cal Filipkowski's, except for he blocks more shots and gets more offensive rebounds. Cal Filipkowski really excels, getting the defensive rebounds. Kling, because of the nature of the position, it's much like the conversation we had about Zach Edey.
Yeah.
It's going to be difficult for them to stay on the floor without picking up a lot of fouls and getting in foul trouble because of how much space and pace they play with in the NBA compared to college. And if he gets switched out or if he's a step late on his rotations or slight body position misalignment, you're going to end up, racking up the fouls. I do find it interesting. His effective field goal percentage is only 55%, so it's lower than Cal Filipkowski's, which is interesting to me. But again, I think a lot of that has to do with the early injuries, and he wasn't really able to get into a groove.
And 3-point shooting for just effective field goal percentage itself.
Yeah, but his volume was 0.7 threes per game.
But I'm saying Filipowski has that.
That's true
because of the 3-point shooting.
That's a good point. Very good point. On the analytics, which I always defer to Matt Hanifan on. Bub Carrington for the Washington Wizards is in your number 9 spot, up from number 14. I really like Bub Carrington. I really like what the Wizards are building, period. What do you think about this spot? Too high or too low? Or
I think
right?
It's about right. I would have him in the same range as Collier, even though I think he's had a better season than Collier. I think them being back to back. I'm sorry, I spoiled that for some of the listeners. I think that's justifiable. I still hope that Bub is able to get to the rim more, or he shows the want to get to the rim more, because he's still on a steady pull-up diet, shooting 40% from the floor, roughly 34% from 3.
Yeah.
But I want to see him be a little bit more of a multi-dimensional scorer in that way. I think he's well-rounded with what he can do offensively for you as a playmaker and whatnot. But I want to see him further diversify his shot profile as time goes on. That was the book on him when he was coming out of Pitt. And I don't know if that's really changed all that much in his rookie season.
I have to agree with you. He is what we thought he was going to be. He's a guy that can handle for you and facilitate, even though that's not his primary function. He's a tough shot maker. He'll rebound for you, and he plays a good point of attack defense. I think as he gets stronger and more explosive, hopefully we can see that rim pressure increase.
And he's only, what, 18, 19 years old?
Yeah,
Or ni
super young, super young. One
Yeah,
of the
he's
youngest in the draft.
19, turns 20 in July. So I'm
Insane.
yeah, like, it's not like the sky is falling or anything. It's not even close. To
Sky's
your
falling,
Wizards
Chicken
point, I
Little.
do like what they are building because, like, yeah, they might completely stink, and they're gonna have another, top draft pick, whether it's 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. Um, but, like, with Bub, with Bilal, with Sar, like, they're gonna
Johnson,
yeah, AJ Johnson, like, they have a decent foundation, and depending
absolutely.
on who they get in this next draft, where they fall, like, it just adds to that. And so, yeah, they might stink now. They got rid of the, Kyle Kuzma contract at some
Right.
point. You and I have talked about it. Hopefully, they are able to get rid of the Jordan Poole contract if they can find a suitor somewhere. I still doubt that happens, but I for in their interest, I think it's the best.
Right. Definitely for the best. For the long-term growth of the team, I think it's for the best.
Yeah, but I do
Uh,
like what they're building, even though they've won, like, 15 games or whatever. I don't even know
right.
what the record is, it's so bad, but
Very similar to the Utah Jazz and Isaiah Collier.
yeah.
Um, he was drafted 29th overall. He's 8th on the rookie ladder. I've been pleasantly surprised at how well he's been able to facilitate
Yeah,
in the NBA.
agreed.
That is the big thing for me with Isaiah Collier. What are your thoughts on Collier at 8?
No, I think we're in lockstep there. Like, the efficiency's still not great right now. Like, I'm looking at it since the beginning of March.
Right.
13.7 assists, 45% shooting, just 26 from deep. Even though he's getting 74% from the free throw line on 4.5 attempts. So it's like the percentages, especially from deep, aren't there yet. We still have concerns about the finishing, but I think the playmaking, him being able to still have that avenue and
Right.
still succeeding in that way. Like, I don't here, let me check the turnovers again. I don't know exactly what they are. Yes.
Probably like 3.5.
Yeah, 6.5 assists to 3 turnovers
Yeah.
over that span. So 2-ish to 1 assist to turnover ratio. Not
Right.
bad. And I think this is something that he can grow upon as time goes on.
Yeah, it's not terrible for sure. It's better than I thought he was going to transition, and mainly it's because of his ability to facilitate. And hopefully that growth continues for him, and he's able to continue to exceed our expectations. Number 7, the dinosaur, the one, the only, Zach Edey. He is number 7. I think this is a good spot for him. Zach Edey's been very inconsistent, and Ashburner actually references that it's been an up and down season for him. He's a very polarizing player because some people are like, "Oh my God!" Sometimes he gets 20 rebounds per game. He's the next Shaquille O'Neal, and then like us, we're a lot more reserved. Like he's a mammoth human being. He's going to have foul trouble. It's going to be difficult for him to stay on the floor. Um, who do we have here? We have Guru Sun, longtime listener and commenter on YouTube during these live streams. He says Edey will thrive post Jenkins.
He has.
And he has to
He has.
that point. He's actually been a focal point of the offense, which he was not under Jenkins. But the challenge will remain. Can he stay out of foul trouble? Will he be able to consistently get those out of area rebounds, not just the ones that go into his 7'11" wingspan? That's going to be the question.
Yeah. I don't know how much of the he had 17 points and 19 rebounds the other night against Charlotte. I don't know how much you saw of his tape. There was one play where it was very funny where, like, he was kind of like holding off Mark Williams with one arm on the offensive glass and then secured a one-handed rebound, put back, and it was just like, well, okay, if you can do that, a little
Yeah,
bit
yeah.
more.
If you're just gonna be a giant, a literal giant, yes, that'll work.
Yeah, like, but again, it's the foul trouble. It's, you know, it's I don't want to say this like jinx it or anything, but like staying healthy because if you're players who are 7'4", 7'5", they're a little bit more fragile,
Yeah,
volatile.
no, I agree. And one thing about Edie, he will throw his body directly to the floor. I mean, he is not afraid to get down and get loose balls.
Yeah,
To his detriment at that size. But it's good mentality to have.
yeah. No, I've
Uh,
liked what I've seen from him in this very brief stint at like post Jenkins. And I'm very curious, like whether it's such a dogfight in the West right now. Like depending on if they make the play-in or playoffs, like I'm very curious to see like how he adjusts because
right,
some teams are gonna like considering how much they've tried to use him as like like rim runner, vertical spacer, a guy who can catch lobs in the short in the short corner, or in like that dunker spot area. Like I just wonder how teams are going to counter that because he is so big,
right.
and there's just not very many players who are that size who can make an impact. So I wonder how teams try to like attack him to defend against that specifically, like what they kind of do to counter what he can do well, because he is such a anomaly with his size and his length, in the modern day game at least.
Right. Uh, Guru Sun chimes in. Yes, stupid Jenkins using him like Lively on offense. Never got the ball. Just stand by the rim. So expanded role. That's good. Number 6, Eve Misi. He's one of the guys I really loved in the draft. He came out strong and stayed consistent all season. As some of the people got injured, his production tailed off. As they got back healthy, his production pretty much stayed the same, but didn't really reach the highs that he would reach when everybody was healthy. He doesn't really fit alongside Zion Williamson, like
Yeah.
at all. So I'm real interested how they're going to play that in New Orleans. He's their best big, but he really can't play well with Zion.
Yeah.
So,
We've
what
talked
are your
about that.
thoughts on that?
Yeah, the fit with Zion's weird. I don't really know how. I mean, I don't think they're going to trade Zion to benefit Eve Misi. Like, I don't see that
Yeah,
happening. They're gonna have to find a way to make it work somehow. And I wonder if that means like, he hasn't done it this year at all, and I don't think he's there from a growth perspective. But like, if Eve starts spreading the floor a little bit,
right. Yeah, I
um,
don't see that happening either. And the thing about Misi is I think he has more post game in him because he has nice feet. He has a nice touch on the jump hook. So it's going to be very interesting how they make that work and how they help him develop.
yeah,
It'll be very important for Misi to be able to develop also some sort of range on his shot because his touch isn't bad either.
I love
Um,
watching him though.
yeah, absolutely. He's a
Love watching him.
blast to watch. He's a ball of energy.
Yeah,
He's like a higher skill Adam Bonea
sure,
and more disciplined as well. Doesn't jump at all at the pump fakes.
and younger.
And younger. That's right. Let's just name off all the things that were better than Adam Bonea. Jalen Wells. Again, prayers up to Jalen Wells after that horrific fall with him getting his feet tangled up with KJ Simpson as he went up for a dunk. KJ was a little bit out of control trying to go for the block. So hopefully he has a full recovery and is back on the court soon. He's had a terrific season, exceeded all my expectations. I'll say it again. I watched literally one game, and I normally watch at least at minimum 5 to form an evaluation. So that was my bad. And I whiffed, swing and a miss. What do you think, Matt? How did this go for you? What did you think of Jalen Wells?
For most of the year, I think it's been a two-horse race for Rookie of the Year. Um, I think the lack of Ashburner mentions it here, the efficiency. I think that has tailed off, over the last month or so.
Right.
And I think he's kind of played himself out of that, like that number two. I still think he should be like a top 3 or 4 guy in the Rookie of the Year voting, just
Right.
based on what he's done the entire year defending, you know, the opposing team's one of their best options each and every night,
Right.
while being one of their best floor spacers, and like kind of like secondary, tertiary scorers alongside Ja Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr., who's had a tremendous season. Um, and so I think to your point, he's surpassed all expectations that I had for him, and I think he's worthy of. I know Ashburner has him at 5. I think he should probably have that 4 spot. I'd kind of flip 4 and 5, and I know we're
Who's
gonna get.
number 4?
We're gonna get to 4 in just a second. But I just think that his body of work, like I know that the numbers don't pop off the page with Jalen, but I think his like impact on a night to night basis throughout the entire year has been really awesome to witness because it's not something that I necessarily expected. We
Right.
saw, little inklings of it in summer league, but he really put it like fully together over an 82 game season sans, a few games because, lack of efficiency and whatnot. But he's been awesome this year. I'm very curious to see what they do with that roster because I've been saying this for like 3 years. They need a consolidation. Somewhere.
Sounds like a team in South Florida as well.
Yeah, like there's just too many guys. Like I wonder like how he continues to grow and expand his game. But speaking of that, number 4.
Oh, number 4. Speaking of the team in South Florida, Khalil Ware has the talent I said from the beginning of the draft to be a walking double-double. The question was, will he have the work ethic, the hustle, the will to improve the body position, boxing out, the rebounding? And he's exceeded my expectations. I wanted the Miami Heat to draft Yves Missi. They got Khalil Ware. I think it's going to work out for both teams. I think they ended up being really well. Now, my question is, can he continue his growth? Can he keep that work ethic up and live up to that extreme talent that he has? What are your thoughts on Khalil Ware?
That's the question. That is the question. It remains to be seen. Not
The
saying
real
he can or
question is,
can't.
what was that Tyler Hero shot last night? Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
Moving
we're
on.
not going to discuss that. But that is the question with Khalil. Like I've loved what I've seen from him this year for the most part. It has been a roller coaster season from him, but like the rebounding, the vertical spacing, his touch around the rim, his hands, all things
Yeah,
that
his hands are fantastic.
all things that I've been very impressed with. But like the discipline, the physicality, him showing a want to get the ball when he has mismatches on him. Like those are things that like I have questions about. Obviously the shooting, like there was like a 2-week stretch maybe where he was a good shooter.
He's got to
Right
be down
after I said
25.
he sucks at shooting and he's always sucked at shooting and he has a good stretch. I'm like, okay, maybe I'm wrong. I think there were like minor tweaks to his like form and base that I liked, but then again, like his shooting just completely like fell off a cliff.
Well, the thing is, when you're changing a shot in the middle of the season, it's really easy for a player to fall back in his old habits, and that's
Yeah.
what it looked like he did. His base is a mess when he catches the ball. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And
he doesn't look like he's ready to shoot when he gets.
No, he's not shot ready. You're
And
right.
so that's where it's just like that. Like there are things that I want him to improve, but in general, I have been very pleased with what I have seen because I do think he's got so many tools, dude. So many tools. Now it's just a matter of putting them together and being consistent with it.
I
And that's
agree.
the prevailing question that we won't have an answer to for the next few seasons.
You're 100% right. We have to wait and see and be patient because I know in this era, everybody's patient.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Alex Sarr for the Washington Wizards coming on strong to end the season. He started off slow, really had trouble putting it together on offense. Really had trouble putting it together on defense. But as he went on, man, he got so much better as the year went on. Stephen Fine thunders in. Alex Sarr equals rookie of the year. The answer to that is no. But he had a really good season, 13 points, 6 rebounds, a block and a half per game. I really like what they're building in Washington. What are your thoughts on Sarr?
He shoots 15 shots a game as a 7-foot big and shoots barely 40% from the floor.
Is that good?
I've liked what I've seen from Alex Sarr this year on both ends of the floor. I think, again, like similar to Ware. I think they're like he's got a lot of tools. He's got the build. He's got the physical traits. I think he does have the motor. But like the efficiency, that has to improve.
And I think it will when he adds on some muscle, man.
Me too.
I think once he gets that muscle and that frame, he'll be more consistent. We are rapidly running out of time. I have another engagement with the 5 Reasons Sports Network for a podcast with Ethan Skolnick. Join us for that on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. So we have Alex Sarr at number. Alex Sarr. Zachary Richeche at number 2 for the Atlanta Hawks. The do-it-all 6'8" forward, can shoot threes, can take it to the cup, can handle, can dish a little bit. And I say he probably had the easiest transition to the NBA because he plays with a Trae Young and he plays with other players that can handle the ball and do the heavy lifting. And he just has to fit a role. And I think he did a great job at that. I think he's clearly the number 2. But I like him. I like him a lot.
100% agree. I looked at it since the start of February, 14 points on 40% shooting from deep, roughly 50% from the floor. Like he's been, and I just think like as time goes on, he's not only gained more confidence in himself, but his teammates and his coaches, I think, have gained confidence in him and his role. And I think that's only empowered him to be what he can be, especially with Jalen Johnson's injury.
Absolutely. And all this talk,
that increased role.
Absolutely. And all this talk about him being the worst number 1 pick that I've, and all this garbage, like, yeah, he's not going to be, Stephon Castle, for example, but he's going to be a good player for them. He's going to be a contributor. And you don't know what kind of work ethic is inside that guy. And he has the tools to eventually one day be an all-star if he has the kind of work ethic needed to get there. Number 1 that I spoiled for you, my number 1 on my big board going into the draft, your number 1 ending the season with Steve Ashburner, Stephon Castle, my guy. I was looking at the 2025 NBA draft, and as talented as this draft is, there's not a guy in this draft that is as good as a defender as Stephon Castle. There isn't one.
Coop.
Outside of Coop. I forgot to put that caveat.
Or at least, I don't think Coop is as good on ball.
No, but what I mean is like at the size, at 6'6" or whatever that Stephon Castle is, for him to be able to bend around screens, because it's not just about point of attack, which he's really good at. His ability to bend and navigate screens and the footwork and the lateral agility to just zip and slalom through the trash is outstanding. And then his ability on offense to be able to handle the basketball, the physicality, the explosiveness. I think Stephon Castle will be in the top 3 in this year's draft.
Sure, you can make that case.
I definitely think I would. And this is going to be a phenomenal draft. I think he's done an outstanding job since the injuries. He's had to do more and more. He's had to lead more and more. And I think that leadership is and poise at that young age is uncanny.
He's so poised. It's crazy. He's never rattled.
Never.
Since the start of March, 19.5 points, 5 rebounds, 5.5 assists, 1 steal. The only thing missing from his game is a 3-point shot, like a consistently good 3-point shot, but yet he still impacts the game in so many ways to where it's just like, I think that would be like a cherry on top. But I think just being a 6'6" guard, I think at some point you're gonna have to develop the shot, even if it gets to like just the mid-30s. I'm not expecting some
I
crazy
agree.
from him.
Yeah, I agree.
But how he impacts the game both offensively and defensively on a night-to-night basis, his poise, his confidence, his finishing, um, his dexterity with his hands, you mentioned his lateral agility, his instinct, like all of it's so good. And
His
like,
ability to get low and bend.
yeah,
That's how, like, that's something people don't realize. That's what
hip
popped
flexibility.
off the tape. His hip flexibility. That's
Yeah.
what popped off the tape in college about him defensively that people you don't really notice if you're not looking for it. So like, yeah, that's a big one. So I think he's going to be the rookie of the year. He's my rookie of the year.
It's so
What
clear.
about you?
It's so clear. It again, I think it was a 2-horse race between Jalen and Stephon for most of the year, but I think to your point earlier, and I wholeheartedly agree with this, Risa Shea has kind of leaped him to be that number 2 guy for rookie
Yeah.
of the year. But like Castle, I think, especially since the injuries, like I've talked about this in other spaces, since there's been no conversation.
No contest. Yeah, no
Yeah,
contest.
like, and that's not a knock on these other guys. Like, it's not a knock on Risa Shea, it's not a knock on Kalel, it's not a knock on Sar, it's not a knock on any of these guys. It's just that Castle's been so good and productive, both numerically and just with his impact. I know the impact metrics, like if you look at some of the impact metrics, they don't really favor him all that much, which
Right.
is I think kind of interesting. But I think the eye test certainly favors Castle above all of these guys, and I think he's been just the best guy consistently throughout the year. And I
Yeah,
think
from
that
the
if you look
beginning
at
of the
the
year
full
to
body
the
of
end.
work, he's been consistently the best.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. If you like this content, don't forget to hit the like button on the channel. Don't forget to subscribe. I appreciate everybody for coming each and every week. We do this on Tuesdays and Thursdays. You can find me, Digital Adele, on Twitter, Hoops Profile, under Digital Adele, playback.tv / Hoops Profile, as well as 5RSN. Matt, where can the people find you, follow you, and get more of your work?
At MPH_824_. You can find me at hothoops.com, mountainwestconnection.com, vendetta sportsmedia.com, as well as playback.tv / 5RSN and playback.tv / hoops profile, which we are on right now. And if you don't
right now
come and join, be a member, whatever, Adele's going to show up at your house, going to make you sign. I'm just kidding.
Me? That's all we got for today, people. We'll see you next time.